This is why feminine energy makes men fall deeply in love. But here's what you won't expect to hear from a man. It has nothing to do with looks, and it has nothing to do with sex. The even crazier part is, without knowing what makes a man fall in love as it relates to feminine energy, you'll struggle to be able to get men to fall in love with you because you don't even know how to target the right things. On today's show, we're going to be discussing exactly that. Why men fall deeply in love with feminine energy. That way, when you finally meet the man of your dreams, you know exactly what areas of his being and spirit to target to make him fall deeply in love with you. So, for our first point, we're going to discuss how men learn themselves through you and falling in love with you. Now, I know that sounds kind of bad. Is he becoming a man through being with me? No, not really, but he does learn himself a lot. And here's why. See, when we're men, just left to our own devices, we find very specific things to do, and usually we only do those things. You know how men do: play video games, maybe a little bit of sports here and there, go to the gym every now and again, maybe go on a run every now and again, eat food, probably not even that good food that we can just find wherever we can find food. We don't have a lot of things that we explore when we're in our natural state as men. That's just most men, okay? Now, when we meet you, the woman, the feminine woman with all this feminine energy, we actually get the opportunity to experience more things than what we would normally gravitate towards. This is actually an amazing concept because you, in your feminine energy, most women, they like to explore, they like to try new things, they just know more about things to do than the men do. And they're willing to try new things more than the men are because we like to stick to our very few finite things that we enjoy. In the process of meeting you with your feminine energy, we actually discover ourselves through the experiences that we have with you. So I've written a couple of these experiences down here. For example, taking care of your skin. A lot of men, I'm going to be honest with you, don't even know or understand the concept of a skincare routine until they meet a woman, okay? Going out to eat sushi, right? You can try different things, step out of your comfort zone. Horse riding is another example of stepping outside of your comfort zone, becoming more sensitive, becoming more aware of your own emotions, who you are as a person, building your identity of what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy in the process of exploring things and in the process of trying new things, right? Stargazing is another example of even something that you might not realize you enjoy so much. In the process of you being in this relationship, being around this feminine energy that encourages you to explore, that encourages you to try new things, that encourages you to go here and do things that you wouldn't regularly do as a man because a manly man only does manly man things. And you realize when you're out stargazing with your woman, you're like, wow, I really do enjoy this. Wow, this is an amazing experience. Wow, I would have never even bothered to try this or thought this was something I would have enjoyed if I wasn't with my woman. Because without my woman, I wouldn't have the excuse to say, okay, well, I'm going to do this thing despite it not being the regular thing that most men would do. And I know it sounds kind of weird and a little bit of toxic masculinity. That's because it is a little bit of toxic masculinity. But I just want to use that to help you understand the concept of how men can begin to discover themselves when they're with the right woman and begin to dig a lot deeper within themselves and create depth and layers to their personality more than just I like eating food, I like playing sports and playing video games, and become a real whole person, if that makes any sense. Okay? Are we on the same page here so far? Are you guys getting what I'm putting down? Okay? You guys good? We all good on the same page? Want to make sure before we go on to the next one? Okay. Henya said something funny. She said, this new guy has 4 sisters. So that's very interesting. And this is how you know this concept kind of makes a lot of sense, because the men with sisters seem to be more well-rounded human beings, if that makes any sense, because they have more feminine energy surrounding them, that they're able to actually do a lot of these things, not necessarily through the romantic relationship, but through the experience of having women around them, if that makes any sense. Sometimes when it's all men all the time, things don't go right. Things don't go right. We need some feminine energy to balance things out, okay? Let's hop into our next point. And I really like to discuss this next point with you. because it's a really cool concept that I think will really just adjust your thinking, okay? Okay, so I drew a clown card, chat. It's okay. So the man is in here. Okay. And we'll do this. Choice 2. Okay. I want to explain to you all this concept that I think is really, 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 really important for men falling in love. Number 2, choice. Now, this is something that when I say it at first, you're going to be like, oh, this guy sounds like he just thinks that women should shut the F up, sit around, be quiet, and only speak when spoken to. That's not what I'm saying. I want you to really take in what I'm saying here because it's really powerful and it really will change the way men respond to you. Feminine energy understands that in order for men to feel like masculine men, they need to at least have the illusion of having choice, okay? Men need to feel like they have the space and they are encouraged to make decisions. Because when men are allowed to make decisions and they feel confident, which we're going to talk about confidence in a bit, and they're confident in the decisions that they make, that is when they feel like a man the most. Now, you might say, well, why is it my job to help him feel like a man? Why, I'm the woman. Do I got to do everything around here? No, but you have to understand, in playing your own role, you actually give space for your man to step into his role as well. So you can't always think of everything as, oh, I'm not speaking up, or I'm not saying anything, or I'm not telling him to do this or telling him to do that because I'm told that as a woman I have to shut up and just sit down. No, you have to understand that if I want my man to embody masculine traits, have masculine energy, it's also my job in my feminine energy to create an environment for that. And the women who understand that and have that magical feminine energy, they know that I need to give my man space to make choices. And I don't want to rob him of his ability to make choices. And I will continue allowing him to build his muscle memory as it relates to making choices. Because the more choices he makes, the better he becomes at making those choices. Now, in a relationship sense, those choices will be for himself. Those choices will also be for the relationship. But the reality of it is, when you're a feminine woman and you're embodying feminine energy and you're inspiring a masculine man, you end up benefiting from that. From creating that environment through your energy, from creating that environment through your spirit that allows him to be a more masculine man, that encourages him to make choices. And when he does that, he feels more like a man. And I promise you, one of the things that if you don't take anything else from this show, one of the things that I want you to take from this show is that the more you make a man feel like a man, I promise you, he will fall in love with you. Because as weird as it sounds, there's only so many places a man can go where he can actually feel like the man, okay? And when you can become that embodiment of the feminine energy that encourages him and makes him feel like a man, that feeling in itself, being around you and having that feeling with you, is addicting. And I'll constantly want to be with you when I can feel like a man around you. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the women that don't embody feminine energy, that don't allow me or give me the space to feel like a man, I subsequently want to be around them less because I feel like less of a man with those women, okay? So I just want you guys to understand that and not feel like I'm saying, hey, sit down, shut up, don't talk, let him make all the decisions. But at the same time, if you're playing your role, because you're going to have your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and you're allowing him to play his role with his strengths and his own weaknesses, right? Then you guys can combine together and make something really special. Are we on the same page so far? I'm very thirsty. I'm about to run out of water already. Okay, let's go on to our third point. Choice is so, so important. Now, I talked about this a little bit earlier when I touched on it. Now, we'll touch on it again, okay? So, do it like this. Okay. I think this is the best way for me to draw this so you'll understand it. I think this is a really actually good way to draw this. So it's gonna look weird when I'm drawing it, but don't worry. Don't worry, class. This is, it's gonna look weird at first. Don't worry. Don't worry why it looks weird. I'm gonna explain, okay? It looks weird, I know. Okay. So, I hope this makes visual sense here. It kind of looks like you're farting on him or like peeing on him, but that's not what this is supposed to be conveying, okay? So for number 3, we're going to discuss confidence. This is not pee, okay? You're not peeing on him. This is supposed to be your, let me label it here. Okay, this is your, oops, let me put the L there. This is not pee, it's your magical fairy dust, okay? Now, you're gonna see me in all seriousness address the concept of magical fairy dust a lot throughout the show. When I say magical fairy dust, what I'm talking about is the runoff, okay? Or I guess we can say the residual of you having this feminine energy that is very magnetic and very attractive to both men and women, to be honest. But in this case, we're specifically talking about towards men, okay? When I say magical fairy dust in this scenario as it relates to his confidence, what I'm talking about is the runoff, the residuals of you being in your feminine energy is going to sprinkle your magical fairy dust all over him. In your feminine energy and with your magical fairy dust, you are going to help to build his own confidence within himself. Because the truth of the matter is, yes, I can feel like I'm a capable man and I'm strong and I'm powerful and I'm the best thing since sliced bread. But when my woman, the woman I care about, the woman I take care of, the woman I love, builds my confidence as well and reminds me how capable I am and reminds me how strong I am and reminds me how intelligent I am and reminds me that I can go out and I can make something out of nothing, now I feel like Superman. One of the easiest things to forget as women is how powerful you are in being able to make a man better than he is by himself, if that makes any sense. And I don't know how or why we were built this way, but let me put you in the mind of a man. If I'm on a mission for something and I'm struggling with it and it's difficult for me and I feel like I don't have anything left to give, but I think about my woman and I think about her encouragement and I think about her being by my side and I think about having to provide for her and I think about having to do the best I can for her. All of a sudden, the lack of energy I had when it was just me thinking about me, now all of a sudden I have this extra bit of energy, this extra bit of push, this extra level that I can go to, not because of me internally, but because of the external motivation and the confidence that my woman gives me to make me feel like Superman, that I can say, no, it's not done here. I can actually push through this. I can actually take another level because I know my woman's behind me. I know she's supporting me. I know she believes in me, and I'll be damned if I let her down. And I know maybe for you as a woman, you're like, damn, is it that serious? It is that serious. Men used to go to war. And when we're at war, we have our medallion. I don't have a chain on, right? They got their medallion and they're kissing their medallion with their woman's initials on it. Why do you think that's happening? Why do you think movies depict that? That's really what it's like to be in a man's mind and soul, right? If we want that extra push, we want to go to that extra level, we want to have that extra courage, that extra bravery, we take that confidence from our woman's magical fairy dust. The more magical fairy dust she has, subsequently the more feminine energy she has, the easier it is to draw from that fairy dust and use it to be that extra motivation for us, okay? Because remember what I just talked about earlier, right? The more you can make a man feel like a man, it's addicting to be around you. It's addicting to be around you, but it also becomes motivation to do things even when you're not there. And to be more of a man, or take that extra push, or take that extra level, because you know your woman's got your back, because you know your woman is there with you, standing by your side. I know it's very heebie-jeebie, but it does happen like that for us guys. Does that make sense to you guys, your magical fairy dust? Okay, I'm going to refer to magical fairy dust throughout the show. So if I'm ever referring to that, just think of this is the residual effect of your magical feminine energy. Okay, that makes sense? Mischief says, glad to catch alive. I'm glad that you caught alive as well. I'm glad that you caught alive as well. Okay. Someone said mystical dropping. That's funny. It's your droppings. You're dropping things on him. Yeah, for sure. For sure that way. Okay, let's hop into our next point. Okay. Now, again, we'll have a conversation about this, because I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I want you to really see what I'm trying to say here and how I'm trying to describe this, okay? All right. I'm going to draw this visual because it's the, why is this line like this? This visual is the best way to really see why it doesn't work. So let's draw the man here, and we'll draw. Okay. Is that how you spell soldiers, chat? I hope this is how you spell soldiers. Okay. So let me know, check police, if this is how you spell soldiers. I don't want to misspell something and then they're like, hey, you misspelled that. It's spelled wrong. Okay. So for point number 4, we're going to discuss leadership. Now, once again, when I say this, I don't want you to take it the wrong way and assume that I'm saying, hey, feminine energy is for you to shut up, sit down, speak when spoken to, okay? That's not what I'm saying. What I want to say is that everyone has a specific role. I know that secretly, because I'm in your mind, me and you were besties, secretly, you really, really want not just to give off feminine energy, you also want your man to be in his masculine energy. I want that for you too. Because in his masculine energy, that's when he's going to protect you, provide for you, do all the things that you see and want in a man, okay? But you have to understand there's work to be done if you want your man to consistently be in his masculine energy, okay? It's not all just sit back, relax, and he's just there and it's just always going to be like that, okay? What do I mean by that in this example? Leadership makes all of the difference. Because when we talk about a man feeling like a man, he needs to feel like a leader in his relationship. I'm just telling you the honest truth. If a man doesn't feel like a leader in his relationship, even if he's still in the relationship, he'll take a back seat. He'll become very passive. He'll become very feminine. You'll be very unattracted to him. And he'll also be very unattracted to himself because he won't even have confidence like a man should as a leader. I wrote this or drew this visual out Because I want you to understand something in this sense. Let's just say you have an army, right? And in this army, every single person in the army wants to be a leader, wants to be the general, wants to be the head of the army. This concept doesn't really work how it's supposed to work. Because when everyone wants to be the leader, everyone wants to have control, everyone wants to make the decisions, no decisions get made. Nothing gets done. Because this person says, oh, well, I have the best idea. Then this person says, no, I have the best idea. Then this person says, no, let's do it that way. No, let's do it this way. No, I want to do this. Then no, I want to do that. And now I want to do that. And even though you think, well, okay, everyone deserves to be heard. Yes, everyone deserves to be heard. But there has to be one leader that executes on the decision so that the army can move forward. If everyone was making all the decisions, nothing would ever get done because they would stay in the phase of constantly debating what decisions should be made, right? And there would be no soldiers who are actually following or executing on the instructions in order for the whole team to be successful. In other words, there can only be one leader. And the other thing that must be recognized is that leader needs to be empowered by the rest of the group, okay? The rest of the group actually has the responsibility of empowering the leader before the leader can actually be a leader, okay? Are we on the same page so far? Because what you have to understand is if the group doesn't empower the leader to lead, well, then there's no recognition amongst all the soldiers that, okay, we are following our leader's instructions. We're going out and we're executing the mission based on what our leader advises us to do. Does that mean that the soldiers won't have a say in anything? Does that mean that the soldiers aren't important? Absolutely not. But in order for the hierarchy to work, in order for things to work, I'm talking about in the army, there needs to be an appointed leader and everyone needs to agree that that person is the leader, okay? So why do I say that? Am I saying you're the soldier? No, I'm not saying you're the soldier. But what I'm using this analogy for is to help you understand that you, in your feminine energy, are actually responsible for creating an environment that empowers the man to feel like a leader, that empowers a man to recognize that he is the leader of the relationship, to empower the man to recognize that your expectation of him in the relationship is that he will be a leader. And I know some of you are thinking, oh my God, I'm sweating. A man leading me, that sounds disgusting. I can't believe this stupid idiot of a YouTuber is on here talking about a man leading me as if I'm dumb, as if I don't have intelligence, as if I should just sit down and shut up. He has no idea what he's talking about. No man can lead me. No man can make a decision for me. I make all my... Okay. What I want you to understand is it's not about saying, I'm too stupid to make a decision. And this is where, I'll be honest with you, a lot of women mess up because they get so filled with rage. Excuse me, I went on a tangent there. My body filled up, okay? They get so filled with rage that a man would even want to be a leader in the relationship. And they feel like that's a slight on me and my intelligence and my ability. Because if he's going to be a leader, what am I supposed to do? Just follow orders? No. You're still supposed to give your opinion. You're still supposed to advise. You're still supposed to give your perspective. You're still supposed to tell him, hey, I don't think we should do this because this might take us off of a cliff. You're still supposed to give your input. But at the same time, if you don't empower your man to be a leader, he won't take on the leadership role. And you want to know who ends up suffering when you're in a relationship and your man doesn't take on a leadership role? You suffer. Because you start asking questions and saying to yourself, well, I have to tell my man everything. Why do I always have to tell my man that I want to go out on a date? Why doesn't he just know? Why do I always have to ask my man for princess treatment? Why doesn't he just give it to me? Why do I always have to beg my man for every single little thing? It's like I'm taking care of a baby. I hate this so much. I know you hate it. And you should hate it because it puts you in your masculine energy and it puts you in a place of anxiety. and it doesn't allow you to relax and receive as you want to be relaxing and receiving. But the only way for you to execute on that dream is for you to also create an environment in your feminine energy that allows and empowers your man to be a leader. This is why I say these types of things is what makes a man fall in love with you. Because I'll be super honest with you. I'm a man. I'm telling you the honest truth. A lot of women don't understand this concept. And they struggle with this concept because when they listen to other people talk, they think that this means that they should sit down, shut up, that they're useless, that they don't have any perspective or opinion or bring any value aside from sex. And it's not true. And if we're going to work together in our relationship, and I feel like a man around you, that's going to be a successful relationship. If I'm empowered to be a leader around you, that's going to be a successful relationship, assuming you enjoy being in your feminine energy, right? Because my disposition in my masculine energy is to be a leader, is to make good decisions, taking into account what your needs are, trying to take care of you, trying to do the best for you, right? That is supposed to be my disposition. But I can only do that, just like in this analogy, if the rest of the team recognizes that I am the leader and also empowers me to be the leader, so that when I make decisions or I'm thinking about what do you need, what's important to you, what's best for our relationship, right? And I say, okay, this is the step I think we need to take, and I begin taking action, we actually both benefit because you're with a man who understands how to take action and execute on plans, right? Without you begging and asking. But also I'm happy because around you, I'm empowered to be a leader. I feel like a leader, and subsequently I feel more like a man, which makes it that much easier to fall in love with you, the woman. Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page here? Because I know this one is one that is like, sometimes your I don't know if we want to call it ego or just your mind or your spirit or your heart might be trying to like make you fight this concept or make you believe that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just dumb. I can't let a man just lead me off a cliff. And that's not what I'm saying. And also, I'm also recognizing not all men will have the ability to lead. Okay, so that's obviously should be understood by all of us. I'm not saying that you do this for any man on the street, okay? But I'm recognizing how this should work in a healthy relationship with a man that actually can lead. I'm about to finish my water. I'm gonna have to get a new one. Let's hop into our next point here. Okay. Alrighty. Might have to get a new board. I had this board for a while. Board done lasted me. It done lasted me a minute. Maybe I should get a... They don't sell whiteboards that are black, do they? That wouldn't make sense because then you need a white Sharpie. I don't know if they sell white markers. Just think it'd fit the aesthetic even better. Let's go on to point number 5. Okay. There we go. We'll do this. Since we've been talking about magical fairy dust, I don't even know how to draw this. We'll go like that and like that. We'll sprinkle your magical fairy dust all over his face. There we go. Here's your magical fairy dust. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this, okay? So for number 5, we're gonna discuss calming. Now, once again, this is your magical fairy dust, okay? You are sprinkling upon a man your magical fairy dust, your feminine energy, so to speak. And this can become very relaxing and calming, peaceful for a man in ways that you don't even realize how this is so good. Let me give you a real life story of my own so that you can understand why this is so powerful for us, okay? I was in the car one time with a woman that I was with at the time, and we were driving to back home, okay, from a destination. And while we were in the car, I was talking about a situation that was really currently stressing me out, okay, that I was gonna have to deal with in the near future. And it was just giving me a lot of anxiety about what I was gonna do, what direction I was gonna go, what choice I was gonna make, all the problems that I was facing. And so as I was describing the situation, it was actually making me more stressed out in describing the situation. You ever been mad about something, then you're talking about it, and then it's just making you more mad? Yeah, that was me in the car that day or that night. So on the drive back, as I'm talking about this situation, and the woman that I'm with is like sensing that it's giving me a lot of anxiety, and I'm getting more and more stressed out, she didn't say a word. All she did was she took her hand, she's obviously in the passenger seat, she's a passenger princess, and she reached her hand behind my neck and the back of my head, and she just started rubbing the back of my head and the back of my neck. And I'm over here yelling. I'm driving. I'm not yelling, but like I'm upset. I'm passionate. I'm a passionate person. So I'm like, and this situation, and you can't believe what this person, and she just puts it on. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'm like trying to talk about the situation because she's not saying anything. And I'm trying to talk about the situation while I'm driving. I'm like, yeah, you know, and that guy, the way he did that, I didn't like it. Yeah. It was crazy. And I can just feel the stress and the anxiety just leaving my body. She's not saying anything the entire time. I'm still talking. I'm still yapping. But like the stress and the anxiety is just leaving my being, just slowly but surely. And by the time we got home, it was like a 30-minute drive. By the time we got home, I was literally like, yeah, you know, I know exactly what I'll do. It's not a big deal. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll fix the situation and everything will be all good. Went to sleep. Everything was fine. And guess what? A couple of days, dealt with the situation. Situation was fine. There was no need to stress out about it, okay? Now, why do I give you that story? Because sometimes you have to understand, in being a woman, you don't even have to say or do much. Sometimes even just your presence, right, can be calming in just reminding us, hey, you know, things are going to work out. You don't have to overstress yourself. Just be present. Just breathe. Just relax. You don't even have to say relax. You can just make gestures like putting your hand on the back of his neck, rubbing some guys it's rubbing their ear, some guys it's their neck, some guys it's back scratchers. Every guy is a little bit different. And you can create such a calming environment and presence in your feminine energy that it's like, trust me, when I was in that moment, I recognized that the only person that could have calmed me down like that was my woman. And when you create a very special bond and connection with a man, he'll also be able to recognize that like you're the only one that can really calm me down like that. And then once again, it becomes very hard to not be attached to someone who is able to bring you to a place where not even you can bring you to, right? When I'm stressed out and when I have anxiety and when I'm thinking about this situation and that situation, and I know my woman is the only one that can return me to a place of peace and relaxation and remind me to be present and remind me that everything is going to be okay without her even saying any of that, it creates an addiction, an emotional addiction to that woman, because where else am I going to get that, right? Something like that in the example that I gave, you can't even get that from a mother. In fact, mothers will stress you out more, okay, than anything, right? And that's where you have to be understanding of like, okay, as his woman, what are some of the things that I provide that literally no one else can provide in his life? And trust me, this is one of them, right? Your ability to calm your man down. Someone said I'm like his Zanny, okay? Exactly. But you also, and I'll be honest with you, have to work through your own issues enough to be able to be that calming, relaxing presence. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if you have a lot of extreme trauma, and extreme anxiety, it'll be very hard for you to be a calming presence in the presence of stress and anxiety. You'll just get riled up yourself, and then nobody's going to be calming anyone. Everyone's just going to be riled up. It's going to be like fire and fire, right? So there is a certain element of things you have to take care of for you in order to be that type of energy, that type of presence that a man will appreciate and love so much. Because as he's going out, he's doing things, he's trying to take care of this for you, he's trying to take care of that, he's trying to protect and provide. He's going to get stressed out. That's just the reality of life, okay? But that's okay. That's okay. Tyler said, that's me, LOL. I will rub the neck so fast. Tyler, you're a girl, right? Just making sure, because your name is Tyler. Every time I see the name Tyler, I'm always confused. I'm like, is this a guy in the chat? But I recognize your name now after a while. Okay. Oh, Vivian said something in the chat that's interesting. She said, I tried something similar, but he refused my touch. Are there any other options? Now, that's an interesting thing that you said there. Some men do have the trauma of they spend so much time in this hardened state that when you try to soothe them, they deny it, not because they don't want it, because they feel weak being soothed, if that makes any sense. Now, that is a little bit of a toxic, I guess we could say masculinity or a trait that he's gonna have to work through himself. Because if someone is stressed out or having anxiety and you're trying to soothe them and then they're just denying your soothing because they feel like, oh, I'm less of a man if you soothe me, or if I cry, or if I show you any sort of weakness, then there's nothing you can do at that point. He has to work through his own problems, his own issues at that point, okay? Right, let me see here. Oh, Tyler says, yes, I'm a girly girl. Okay, yeah. You said yes, a girly girl too. Okay, just making sure. I've never seen a girl named Tyler before. I've never met a girl named Tyler. You're the first girl I've met that's named Tyler. Okay, so first time for everything. But now I know, Tyler. Now I know. All right, let's hop into point number 6, right? We're on point number 6. That was fast. This one, I'm sure some of you will love this one. How is the best way for me to draw this one? Because I'm not an artist. We'll do this. So I'm gonna draw the man here. We'll draw his eyes over here. So we'll do like this. We'll put your beautiful, beautiful body, beautiful, gorgeous shape over here. Beautiful you are, so sexy, so seductive. Okay, then we're gonna put some NPCs on the side here. Okay, perfect. NPCs all over the place. All right. For number 6, let's discuss admiring, because this is something that I think women forget to allow men to do. And this is actually cool because I know some of you read your fantasy books. Some of you watch 365 Days on Netflix. Some of you love movies like The Notebook, or you like some hardcore stuff like smut books, or things that go a little bit of, you know, how they call it. Is it dark romance or dark fantasy romance books, novels? Yeah, I know some of you are into those, okay? So one of the elements of those books, movies, and novels that will be present a lot of times is a man admiring the woman that he meets for the first time, or he sees across the room at a party or at an event, whatever the case may be. See, feminine energy is good at being admired, because feminine energy is like self-sustaining, if that makes any sense. I always tell you guys that one of the really strange parts about attraction for men, especially for feminine women, is we are attracted to the women who are investing in themselves the most. Which sounds kind of counterintuitive, because you'd be thinking, wait, are men not attracted to the women who are doing the most for them? No, actually, ironically, we're the most unattracted to those women. We are attracted to women who are investing in themselves. Because like I said earlier, When you're investing in yourself, now you're radiating. You know how people say, you're glowing. Oh my God, girl, you're glowing. Think about when people will say you're glowing the most, okay? Because let's really break this down to try and understand what's going on here. If any of you have ever been told by a friend, a girlfriend, a guy friend, whoever, a work colleague, you're glowing, right? When are the times where people will tell you that you're glowing? When you have been investing in yourself the most. If you start going to the gym, you start taking care of your skin, maybe you're doing a new routine, maybe you've been out in the sun a lot, maybe you've been relaxing a little more, getting better sleep, so you just have a better look overall, you have this aura to you, your presence is just a way lighter, way brighter, right? Every time you are investing in yourself, people will notice a glow about you. On the opposite end of the spectrum, think about when people will say, ooh, you look kind of rough. Ooh, you look like you've been drained. Ooh, you look mentally exhausted, right? That usually comes from when, instead of the energy going back to you and being invested to you, the energy is going outward into other people and for other people, for other things, to the point where you can no longer invest in yourself and now you look drained energetically. Now, why do I talk about this concept? Because if that's the case for you on a regular basis, well, then we have to recognize men are naturally going to admire, obviously, women with the glow. If being and having this glow is part of being in your feminine energy, well, then you have to be investing into yourself. Now, why does this make men fall in love with you? Because when we're able to admire you and admire that glow and admire that magical fairy dust that you sprinkle all over the place when you walk around, right? It communicates to us that confidence that she has that's creating this glow around her must come from somewhere. There's no way someone can walk around with that glow and that confidence unless she has real value. Now you create a scenario where the man has to come to the conclusion that the only way she can have this type of glow and this type of confidence is if she has real value. If she has real value, then subsequently, she's the type of woman that I desire and want to be with. Because what are men looking for when they're on the hunt for a woman, the hunt for a wife? They're on the hunt for a woman who is very desirable, very attractive, not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all that other stuff, right? So they want a woman who has the glow. They want a woman who has that confidence because they believe that that confidence is derived from the fact that that woman actually has real value. And they want to go for women with value, okay? And so it's very easy as a man to fall in love with a woman who you can actually admire, who actually knows how to invest in herself, take care of herself, because as weird as it sounds, we like being able to use you as a muse. That's what I was looking for, okay? And I don't want to get too deep into this topic because I'll talk about it too long. But like I talked about earlier with the kissing the medallion when you're at war of the initials of your wife, to think about her to like go on your last mission or whatever the case may be. Men also use women as a muse. The word muse, what it is defined as is we use you as inspiration, whether it be inspiration to like push to the next level or inspiration creatively or just inspiration, you know, for ourselves and for our lives in general. I know it sounds kind of strange, right? Men, you will be surprised how much of success for men can be attributed to them using a woman as a muse. Let me give you an example of that, right? An example of that would be, let's say a guy meets a woman and he thinks this woman is amazing, but he also knows that without getting money for himself and becoming rich, he'll never have a chance with this woman. So he goes out, and it sounds really weird. He goes out into his life. He goes on a mission to get more money, make himself a success. And he's thinking in the back of his mind, right? I'm doing this because I want that woman. And I want to achieve the level in which I can be recognized and have that woman as my woman. And he's over here working a job or doing a business because he's thinking about the inspiration, right, of that girl, as weird as that sounds. And he's using that to inspire him to do this thing or do this mission, or to get rich, or to get money, whatever the case may be. So a lot of times men are using women as muses. And in order for me to use you as a muse, I have to be able to admire you. In order for me to admire you, you have to be investing in yourself. Because the only way for you to have this glow that is admirable is for you to be investing in yourself. Does that make sense? Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Okay. Someone said in the chat, what is that? C said, every time I become single, I get my glow back. Isn't that quite interesting, right? That's also a reason there, what you just said, C, why when you're in a relationship, you never want to begin neglecting yourself for the relationship. And I'm not saying be a selfish partner or anything like that. I just want to remind you that your man, even your own boyfriend, your own husband, he's going to be the most attracted to you when you're investing in yourself. So I'm not saying don't take care of your man, don't do for your man, ignore your man. But I'm also saying make sure that you still delegate a good percentage and portion of your energy to investing in yourself, outside of your children, outside of your husband, because I promise you, it'll make you so much more attractive to your husband and in your relationship when you continue to invest in yourself, whatever that may be, in all the different facets and aspects, okay? All right, number 7. There we go. Expression. Let me do this. Oops, I drew a deformed head there. There we go. That's better. We'll put feelings down here, and then we'll put mad. We'll put sad. We'll put happy. We'll put disappointment, anxiety. We'll put scared. Well, I'll put fear. Fear is like the same as scared, but oh well. Okay, so for number 7, we're going to discuss expression. I know this sounds like a weird reason to fall in love with a woman, because what is feminine energy doing for expression? But remember how I said at the beginning of the show that you and your feminine energy are actually helping men discover themselves? Yeah, this is another version of that. In your feminine energy, men don't grow up naturally with the ability or feeling like they can or should be expressing themselves. That's just the reality. A lot of times men grow up even hearing from other men that in order to be a man, you're not supposed to feel things. And even if you do feel things, you just move right ahead and push forward. Don't think about it. Don't feel it. Don't talk about it. Just go ahead and do. Take action. Okay? But it gets to a point where that becomes toxic, because then they stop having, they never grow or develop the ability to express themselves. So even though they have emotions, they don't know how to connect to those emotions. So think about there being a wall between this man and these emotions. A lot of times men really only know how to connect with this emotion here, right? They can connect with being mad because that seems to be the only emotion that other men encourage them or think it's okay for them to feel. So that's the only emotion that they understand how to express. Now, being with a feminine woman in her feminine energy actually teaches us something very important, that there are a range of other emotions on the table. And it also, for the first time, I know this sounds very strange and weird, but I'm just telling you the truth. For the first time being with a truly feminine woman, we learn that it's okay to connect with all of these other emotions. And we also begin to understand what it means to feel these other emotions and understand how we react and respond ourselves when we feel these other emotions. I know it sounds very strange, but you have to think from the perspective of, if I grew up for the longest time only feeling like I can feel one emotion, then all of my other emotions subsequently a lot of times get funneled into that one emotion. Okay? Meaning that when I feel anxiety, I just translate it to feeling mad. When I feel fear, I just translate it to feeling mad. Even when I feel disappointment, aside from happiness, okay, right? But even everything else, all of these other emotions like disappointment, right? Anxiety, scared, fear, right? Will all translate to me being mad because I rarely even understand how to feel any other emotions, okay? And now, when you're finally with the feminine women are a lot better at understanding their emotions, understanding how to process their emotions, but also helping to guide men into their own emotions and understanding their emotions and feeling them and knowing how to process them. Now I know some of you will say, stupid YouTuber. Are you trying to say I should be a man's therapist? I will never be a man's therapist. You must think I'm an idiot. I want you to understand something, okay? And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just trying to help you understand something. In a relationship, we all have roles to play. As a woman, you have strengths and you have weaknesses. Just like men, we have strengths and we have weaknesses. The way we were made is that when we come together, we're able to fill in each other's strengths and weaknesses so that we can be more than the sum of our individual parts, okay? Meaning as a whole, we are much stronger and more capable than just being by ourselves alone with our own flaws. Do you get what I'm saying? So why do I say that as it relates to, I'm not gonna be a man's therapist? Because in your feminine energy, that is one of your superpowers, to be more in touch with your emotions, to understand the spiritual aspects of life and the things that go on within your spirit, within your life, within your mind, and to meet men and help them process and understand that and introduce them to that world that, hey, it's okay to feel disappointment, okay? You're not just angry all the time. Sometimes you feel anxiety. Sometimes you're scared. Sometimes you're in fear, okay? There's other emotions and things that you feel within you other than just being mad. And there's other ways to express those emotions other than just getting angry. And it's okay to talk about those emotions or to communicate how you feel this about that. And you feel this about this situation, right? And I know it sucks to be like, oh, well, do I have to build this man up? And why do I have to show him this? And why do I have to teach him this? We're all teaching each other things in a relationship. A good man should come into your life and teach you things about yourself as well and help you in aspects of your life in which you're weak as well. It's supposed to be an exchange. That's how it's meant to be. So when you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, I'm not going to be a man's therapist and I'm not going to help him with this and I'm not going to help him with that. Well, sure, go ahead. But you'll probably find it very difficult to connect with men because what they're supposed to be receiving from you in a good, healthy relationship, they're not receiving from you. And you want to know the irony of that, the super duper irony of that? And I'm not trying to be mean, but what I noticed in helping hundreds of women, the women who adopt that mentality that I'm not going to be a man's therapist, they usually end up with men who end up outsourcing that to another woman. Okay, not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to even put you in fear, but I'm just telling you the honest truth of what I've observed. All the women who adopt the mentality, I'm not going to be that man's therapist. If he wants to talk about his emotions and his traumas, he can go somewhere else for that. He can go to a therapist. I'm not going to be that for my man. I've seen it time and time again where the men will just say, sometimes they'll stay in the relationship and they'll just outsource that to another woman, whether it be a coworker, whether it be a best friend, that's a girl, or in some extreme cases, it's a stripper at a strip club or a bartender at a club. Yeah, trust me. I know it sounds very weird and I know it sounds very strange, but men need this. Men need this. And when a woman understands how to give this and provide this, it doesn't cost anything. When women understand how to give this and provide this and embrace this as well, because embracing this is part of the process, it is so much more valuable to men, because once again, where else am I going to get this? That's part of the process of us falling in love, is recognizing the value that you're bringing, that I can't recreate the value that you're bringing with this within myself, because it's not something that I'm capable of giving myself. Only you, the feminine woman, can give that to me. This value allows me to feel more attached to you, which subsequently grows my feelings for you, which subsequently makes me fall more in love with you. Are we on the same page? Are we getting each other? Okay. The class says extreme case is cheating. Okay. Class says, I love being feminine. I love loving on men, but great men are few and far between. I'm not desperate, so choose wisely. It's true. It's okay to recognize both. It's okay to recognize that I want to love a man and I know that a man deserves my love, but that's not going to be every man. And the process of the Players Club and your dating life is going to be evaluating if that man is the man or is just a man. Okay? Let's talk about number 8. What does that say? 33. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Excuse me. I'm very burpy today. I apologize, chat. I'm extremely burpy today. We'll say all right. So for this point with depth, I want us to talk about the levels that men will take in terms of their relationships. A lot of times when men are hanging around men, this is going to sound sad. Most of the time, men hang in this area. When I'm talking about this area, okay, men with men, okay? Men with men, we love to hang out right here, right on the surface. Most men and men relationships. Why? It's a lot more comfortable, a lot more easygoing, less drama, and we don't have to talk about too much or make things too deep. And let me tell you how I know this is true. Well, obviously I know this is true because I'm a man, but let me tell you how you should know that this is true. Tell me in the chat, have you ever been with a guy and you're talking to this guy and, let's say you know some of his guy friends and you know something that might have happened to his guy friends, or maybe he mentioned something that happens to his guy friends. And he says something like, oh yeah, I guess apparently, John and Jenny, they got divorced or something like that. And you're like, wait, what? What? They got divorced? Oh my God. What? When did this happen? Oh, I guess John said that he said it happened like last week or something like that. So I can't remember exactly the timeline. Last week? Well, what happened in their relationship? When were they even gonna get a divorce? You never even told me nothing about them getting a divorce. When was this transpiring? And how did this come about? He said they were both having like affairs or something like that. I wasn't really listening when he said it. Something about an affair. Who was having the affair? I can't remember. We just kind of glossed over it and then we continued playing pool, right? And you might be wondering to yourself, you're like, how did you not sit down with this guy, have a 24-hour long conversation, getting through every detail, minute, point of everything that's transpired leading up until this point, and talk about this endlessly for hours? How was this not the topic of conversation the entire night? Because men with men hang out on the surface. Now, when we finally meet feminine women, we stop hanging out on the surface because we understand how to take more depth into our connections and into our relationships. A lot of times, as weird as this sounds, for men, the first time that they're really in love with a woman, like a good woman, is the first time any relationship that they've ever had ever even crosses this stage here, right? This threshold. Because maybe you might meet one or two people in your life, or maybe a family member where you get to hear. But for the most part, men are never, ever getting into this area here. Never, never. And being with the right woman is actually the first time you're encouraged to even build a relationship that takes this amount of depth, which is a great thing. And it's an amazing thing. And it's one of the things that I want you to recognize, that when you are with a man and you're building a relationship with a man, that's one of the things that I want you paying attention to, is how deep do you go with this guy? Now, when I say deep, what do I mean? I'm not talking about sleeping together. I'm talking about going in deep in terms of understanding each other. Like, if you've ever experienced being really in love with someone, you see them differently. Like, there's a difference between seeing someone and seeing them. Like, I see your being. I see who you are. I see you for like what's inside of you. When I look at you, I see your aura. I see your essence. Do you get what I'm saying? And with men will never go that deep. They will never reach that level of depth. But that's going to be majority of the relationships. But then when you're with the right woman creates an environment and encourages you to take that level of depth within yourself, like we talked about earlier, but also within your relationships. Talk about more than you ever talked about before. Experience more than you've ever experienced before. Go places with your partner and with that person in ways that you never thought you would go. That's part of the experience that makes being with a feminine woman so magical. Okay? Let's hop into our next point. Someone says it scares men. It scares men because think about where they regularly hang out. And it should be scary for men, because when you get to that level of depth, you can't unfeel that, truthfully and honestly. When you get to that level of depth, you realize how surface level your other relationships are. One of my favorite quotes, for those of you who have watched the movie Quote Carter, for those of you who have watched the movie Coach Carter, one of my favorite quotes is, our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Okay? I'm not going to describe that quote because I just want you to think about it, but that is my favorite quote. Okay? And so it's quite interesting that you say that scares men. Okay? So this is number 9. We'll put you here. Do any of you know what that quote means? Any of you? Maybe not. Maybe not. It's my favorite quote, anyways. Our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Okay, let's do this. As we discuss this point. Alrighty. Okay. So for number 9, we're going to discuss being a protector. Another one of the traits that masculine men will take on when they're in their masculine energy. And being in your feminine energy helps to inspire that. Now, this is such an interesting concept because when you're a damsel in distress, you obviously inspire the most protective energy of men, right? And because obviously that in that scenario, then they get to do things for you, they get to save you, all that good stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily need to be a damsel in distress, but what I am wanting you to understand is within your feminine energy, you're going to inspire men to be protective over you. Now, here's where the real key comes in, because when you understand that part of getting a man to fall in love with you in your feminine energy is getting him and allowing him to be a protector over you, well, then you also want to recognize that you should be encouraging him and holding space for him. I think that's the term, holding space, right? Holding space for him and creating an environment in which he's allowed to feel and be protective over you. One of the things that I think a lot of women make the mistake of in this concept is when the man in his natural masculine energy becomes protective, sometimes women will be like, oh, well, you're insecure, so that's not protective. You're just trying to control me. Which in some cases, yeah, they're trying to control you. But in some cases, their natural, desire to be protective over the woman that they care about comes out. But you also want to make sure that in your feminine energy that you're not discouraging that, because that is part of his process of being a masculine man in his masculine energy. So sometimes you have to recognize, while obviously you don't want to be in a controlling relationship, that your man in his natural state that you actually want him to be in is going to come across protective, even in ways that seem a little bit irrational or seem a little bit silly. But it's okay. In fact, if you can even encourage that, I'm not saying you encourage him to be controlling, but if you can encourage him to feel empowered in being protective over you, because it's okay that he's protective over you because you know that he just cares, you're actually empowering him to be in his masculine energy, which subsequently leads to what I was talking about before, which is men love to be able to feel like a man around you. And they also double and triple love being able to be around a woman who encourages them to be a man, because those things are natural to me. It's natural for me to care about a woman and be protective over her. So if I'm with a woman that embraces the fact that I'm protective over her, now I can be able to feel and act more like a man around her. I don't have to feel like being around that woman is making me fight my regular, already existing nature. Okay, does that make sense? Tyler says, the quote, you're talking about the quote, I'm assuming, it means that we fear that we can actually do what we fear. We can see our potential, yet we don't want what comes with that potential, so it's easier to just stay in fear. Did you search that up on ChatGPT? It took you a while to answer me. But yes, that's, I won't say that's exactly what the quote means, because I like the quote to be ambiguous for you to take from that quote what you feel that it means. But I do believe that you have the essence of the quote right. I like to leave things up to the mind sometimes. I don't like to give all the answers. Okay, so for number 10 here, it's my favorite one. It's my favorite one. You are so amazing. How do you express excitement? I don't know. Doing the best that I can. Okay, so for point number 10, we're going to discuss making a man feel at home. This is the overarching concept that I want you to take in. When a woman is in her feminine energy, she becomes like home. She becomes the thing that he wants to return back to. that he wants to be around all the time. He loves it here, as the kids say, right? And nothing is better than this. Nothing is better than being in your bed, snuggling up in your bed after a long day. Your feet are so sore. You put your feet up on your bed and you're just laying there and you're just like, oh my God, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else than laying in this bed right now, right? Being able to be a man's home will really, really change the way that he approaches you and he approaches this relationship. Now, that really consists of everything that we talked about earlier. But when we implement all the stuff that we talked about earlier, that's when you really feel like a man's home, because all of the stuff I mentioned earlier is about making and providing so much value to a man's life in ways that he actually couldn't even do without you. The motivation, the inspiration, using you as a muse, being able to understand himself better, go in more depth within himself in his relationships, being able to express his emotions in ways that he never knew before, being able to step outside of his comfort zone, bring him to places that he never would have gone before, do things and try things that he never would have done before. You become such an invaluable part of a man's life that you are like home. And I'm telling you the honest to God truth. When you're with a feminine woman as a man and you experience what it's like to be in this place mentally, and you feel what you feel inside you as a man, when you're with the right feminine woman, it is such an addiction, it's very hard to let those women go, truthfully and honestly. And you think about them over and over again, and you think about if you fumbled them over and over again, because you understand how rare that is. The unfortunate reality about feminine energy as it relates to what we're discussing here today is a lot of women don't understand how to embody it. The same way a lot of men don't understand how to embody masculine energy is the same way a lot of women don't understand how to embody feminine energy. So it becomes very invaluable when you finally meet a woman with that. Now, you obviously have a choice to make, because you can embody that or you cannot. It's really your own choice. But the hope for me is that as you understand what it feels like to be with a woman in her feminine energy, you also understand how to give that to the right man in the right scenario when you finally meet him, and then you guys can be in a happy, healthy, amazing relationship. Okay? Right? Do you guys have any questions about the 10 that we just discussed here? I basically finished my water. What did Hazard say? While you guys are asking your questions, just give me 1 second. I'm going to go fill my water bottle up. You guys put your questions down and I'll be back in a second. Fill my water bottle up. Don't worry, I'm still here. The teacher is still here. You guys might even be able to hear me go and grab some water. So just give me a second. Give me 1 second. Ask your questions in the chat. Chat it up. I'll be back. Just filling out this slow water. It's very slow, chat. And this water bottle is very big. Very, very big. Oh, I gotta sit down. My back. I'm getting old. Chad, I need a massage. If anyone's in the Toronto area, tell me where a good place to get a full body massage is. I'm not talking about at a house. Like a real massage. None of that Diddy stuff. Not a Diddy massage. I'm talking about a real massage. I need to massage my back. My back needs a massage for real. It's like my lower back. I think I have to start wearing special soles too, because I heard that helps your back, you know, when you're standing a long time, you know. Oh. And it's not even, I don't think it's nerve, it's just the muscle too. Anyways, okay, I hope your questions have been asked. I'm returning back to the screen. Okay, returning back to the screen. I wonder if you guys were able to hear me that whole time. Yeah, definitely. I see the comments. Okay, let's answer some of these questions. Here, let me scroll up. Oops. Let's scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. And I'll do some of these questions. Okay, so Hazard says, if a guy consistently, what is going on? Hazard says, if a guy consistently says you are not his type, but will still joke with you and tease you, what's the meaning of this? He's playing with you. Hazard, if he's saying that you're not his type, but he's joking and teasing you, that doesn't mean that he likes you. It just means that he likes joking and teasing you. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he likes you or anything like that. So I hope you're not taking it like that. Don't take it like that. Some guys will just say contradictory stuff rather than be frank about it. You're talking about frank about whether they like you or not. Well, of course, trust me, we would all love for people to just come to us and say, hey, I like you, or hey, I don't like you. But one, there'd be no fun in that. But also number two, people will never operate like that. And number three, you just have to understand that people will tell you how they feel about you, but it's just not going to be in words. So it actually is obvious. You just have to understand what to pay attention to, okay? Tyler said, I've heard the quote before, and that sort of is what I took from it. Also reminds me of the fear is greater than the actual reality of fear. Fear is greater than the reality of fear. Miss Pumpkin says, men love goofy bops. Then they fumble the Empress. That's me. And still email me 20 years later. Sounds like you got some pressure built up when you sent that. You said men will fumble the bops. Okay, and then fumble the Empress. That's funny. Flower says, yes, my twin flame fumbled me big time. I've had him blocked for more than 2.5 years. Boy, oh boy, he probably thinking about you still to this day. To this day. Let me scroll down here. What the hell? What the hell? Oh, you guys are talking about what I should do to massage. Someone said use a tennis ball to massage it yourself. No, it's not that's not gonna do what it's supposed to do for my lower back. I'm gonna have to someone's gonna have to, because I can tell it's the muscle being tense, because I do deadlift sometimes, but it's just from, I don't know. I have to go to an actual probably chiropractor or something like that. But I think honestly a massage will at least hold me for a good amount of time. I just have to get regular massages, like full body ones, not no Diddy stuff. Shell says, thoughts on men that use women for his book of secrets. Oh, like you're talking about your book of secrets and a cuddle, but says that they need to be a certain level to be in a romantic relationship. So are you basically saying that they use you to yap, talk about themselves, use you as a therapist, but then they don't want a romantic relationship? Well, then obviously there's a balance, right? You're not trying to be a man's therapist for him to use you as a therapist and then abandon you. So you also have to be responsible enough to gauge when you're dealing with a man, what are his real intentions here, right? If he comes to you and he's talking about, I don't want a relationship, and then he proceeds to try to use you as a therapist, then, now we're going into the wrong direction here, right? This is why I talked about yesterday, in order to avoid men playing you, you have to make sure that you have a conversation from the beginning of what is the direction that we're moving in. Doesn't mean that we have to be married today, but are we seeing each other for the potential of dating each other, for the potential of getting married, or are we just kind of seeing where things go? Getting that out of men will really save you a lot of time and energy. Okay. Hazard said, how to examine if he's just teasing you by saying contradictory stuff to make you angry. What? But still likes you, or he really meant what he says. What is the contradictory stuff you're talking about? Root says he needs a neck massage, like I need a neck massage. You're funny. Y'all funny. Someone says, come to Honolulu. I'll tell you the best place for a massage. That sounds like I'm about to walk into some Diddy stuff. Come to Honolulu. I'll tell you the best place for a massage. Yeah, I'm sure you will. How to graciously accept and be comfortable being admired, seen by men when you're in your glow state. Crystal, I have to ask you a question. What about men admiring you makes you uncomfortable? Like them looking at you, them coming up to you, them approaching you. That would be how I would have to answer your question. What's your opinion on a man that hasn't been in a serious relationship since college and now he's 36? His reasoning is that he hasn't met anyone he has had a strong connection or chemistry with. Then your next question, Alyssa, should be, okay, why do you feel you haven't had a strong connection with anyone you've met in the past, let's just say 20 or 10 years? Okay, so maybe he graduated when he was 26, okay, 10, 12 years. Why haven't you had a connection with someone in that entire time? And do not let him skate by with an answer like, oh, I just haven't met anyone. No, no, no. You clearly have, are you telling me you've been celibate the entire time? No, I've slept with people, okay? So if you slept with people, I'm sure you tried to at least build a relationship off that at some point. Yes, I tried to build a relationship off that at some point. Okay, so of those people, why do you think things weren't working how they were supposed to work? Where were you noticing that you were having a disconnect? Okay, and then let him talk. If you really want that answer, it comes from him, and you just can't let him skate on generalities. You know, generalities like, oh, it's just hard. Oh, I can't connect with anyone. No, don't let him skate. Okay, don't let him skate. Let me scroll down here. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, I lost it here. I lost it. Okay, we'll go from here. Someone says, I'm a PT and sports therapist, use a foam roller after training. I'll try, but I need that massage. I was about to recommend an app, but I'm in the UK. What app were you about to recommend? I'm tired of being seen as good enough to sleep with, but not good enough to commit to. How do I change this? Well, what does that say? Jitterbug? I would need to know more about you and more about the things that you've been encountering when meeting men to give you real advice on that. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't know what you might need to change because I don't know how other people are receiving you, if that makes any sense. For example, if everyone around me thinks that I'm a super selfish person, but I personally don't think I'm a super selfish person, I have to ask myself, what are they seeing within me, or what action are they experiencing with me that is causing a lot of people to always see me as a very selfish person? Do you get what I mean? So I need to hear more about that. Is it really true that if men know you're the one / worth it they know that in a very short period of time? Yes and no. I don't believe in the idea of just you lay your eyes on someone and you're like, oh my God, this is the person I'm gonna marry. I understand having initial attraction to someone and being like, yes, I like your vibe and all that other stuff. But I still do think that the actual clarity of saying that I know I want to marry this person for sure, comes after you meet someone after a while. Okay? I just can't, because it's just not realistic. Like, you don't know the person. So you can't base your desire for wanting to marry them off of just seeing them. That's literally just initial attraction, which that's not why you marry someone. Such interesting content after midnight in London. It's midnight in London? This is crazy. But even if he let me in his safe place regularly, I even met his family members, but he would just introduce me as a friend. Is it possible to move things further than this stage? No, because if he's introducing you as his friend, that's what he sees you as. It's not your job to convince a man to see you in a different light or in a different way. It's your job to observe how he truly sees you and then move according to that. I know it sucks, but and I've been there too, sometimes you like someone and you want them to like you, you would love for them to like you, but they just don't like you. And you have to be able to accept that and move forward, because that's part of life. Not everyone that you like is gonna like you back, just like not everyone that likes you, you like them back. And that's part of reality. So if a guy's introducing you as his friend, you should use that as a sign to say, I'm probably wasting my time here. Class says Tommy needs his body touched. All right. Okay. All right. Let's hop into our next segment here. By the way, for those of you who have a question for me and maybe I didn't get a chance to answer it, or it's a little bit more detailed, hop into the link in my description and then you can ask me a question there for a private relationship question, and I'll respond with a voice note Usually comes within a couple of days. I'm going to do some more after this as well. Alrighty, let's start off with this one. I guess it's just a story time. Her name is Lauren. She's going to tell us about how her relationship ended in betrayal. Quite interesting. Okay, let's get started.
This is quick as possible, but this video is way overdue and so many people have so many questions and keep asking me about it. So I figured I'd just make a video explaining everything. So about 2 months ago, I was on the phone with my ex-fiance at the time, and we were on the phone for quite some time. It literally came out of the blue, but I had to pry it out of him, mind you. Okay, and we were on FaceTime because he was out of town for work, and he wasn't gonna be home for like another 10 days or so. Well, it got to the point where he was starting to seem a little like off, and I kept asking him like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? You seem like not focused. You're acting a little weird. And his first response was, no, I'm just tired. It's been a long day at work. So I proceeded to keep talking to him about my day and all the other things we had coming up. And I just noticed he wasn't like listening to me. So I kept asking him like, are you sure you're okay? Like, you just seem off. So then after me doing this for like probably a good 10 minutes, he finally goes, I'm just stressed. I'm like, okay, what about? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, just tell me, like, quit beating around the bush at this point. And he finally just out of the blue says, I just don't want to be with you anymore. I'm unhappy.
Okay. Because when I hear this, that's very strange. But I'm wondering if this is one of those situations where, and this is not about blaming her. I'm not blaming her. I'm just telling you one of the things that I've noticed when I hear stories like this. I'm wondering if this is one of those situations where the woman is really impressing upon the man, I want this. I really want my relationship to be like this. I really want us to do this. I really want us to do that. You want that too, right? And then she's with the man that's like, right. And then she's excited because she thinks he's excited, but his excitement really is just mirroring her excitement so that she can feel like, yeah, we're both on the same page. But it's not really what he originally wants. He's just a follower.
Happy, and I've been unhappy for a while. So naturally, I'm like, what? Because mind you, that morning, he was texting me, good morning, beautiful. I love you. I hope you have a great day. I do have the screenshots for proof because you know I come with receipts. But also he acknowledged our anniversary. Now, we don't celebrate like month anniversaries, but we always acknowledge them. And that was our 4-year and 3-month anniversary, if I'm being exact. So anyway, we're talking. I just got to the point where I'm like, you've clearly made up your mind. Like, you don't even seem sad, remorseful, nothing. Like, what? Like, so of course my mind went to instantly, okay, who is she? He swore up and down there was no one else. He's just been unhappy for a long time. And I'm like, well, again, this is news to me because what? You were just home and everything was fine. So anyway, he just did.
So if there's really no woman, then that most likely points to one of those types of relationships where, once again, I'm not blaming her, but I'm just saying I've seen it happen to a lot of women where they can be excited about certain things that they want present in their relationship, how they want their man to be, how they want him to act, how they want him to talk. And they can like, it sounds weird, but I don't know if any of you have ever experienced it or seen it in a friendship of yours. Your girl can start to treat her man like a Barbie doll, like a Ken doll, where she like dresses him how she wants to dress him, makes him talk how she wants to make him talk, styles his hair how she wants him to style his hair. It's like everything is like, hey, I want my man to be like this. So she makes him like that, and he's almost like playing dress up. He's just like doing how she wants it to be, right? And then one day he kind of just says, you know, I'm unhappy, and the unhappiness stems from not feeling like he's had autonomy in the relationship, and he's just been a Ken doll the entire time. But maybe it just something awoken in him at some point, or he just got fed up with it, you know, feeling like a Ken doll in the relationship, and now he's finally like, I just want to walk away from this. I've seen it happen before, so that's not shocking to me. I wonder if this is one of those situations.
Not seem present. He gave zero, if you know what I'm saying. And I was like hysterical, crying my eyes out. So it got to the point where I'm like, you know what? You clearly don't care. There's nothing else I have to say. You've clearly made up your mind. Like, I'm getting off the phone. So we hang up. I didn't hear from him at all. Like, we didn't talk for days. But let me back up, because the day before I noticed he had added Snapchat And the only reason I found that out is because I was getting ready to go to bed. Normally he says goodnight. I didn't hear from him. So I texted him after I got off one of my jewelry lives and nothing. So it's like, okay, he just fell asleep. Well, I'm scrolling in bed and doing all the things, checking notifications. And I had a notification on Snapchat that said I had a new friend request. Well, it wasn't a new friend request. It was actually someone in my contacts who had added Snap, and it was him. So after I had texted him like goodnight, I sent him another text and said, by the way, did you create a Snapchat again? And a backstory with that, when we first started dating, we had issues with Snap because he was getting videos from other women doing things inappropriately to themselves. Anyway, it almost...
This is not good.
caused us to break up, but he decided, you know, it's not worth it. I'll get rid of the whole thing. So he's been without it for 4 years, okay?
What did I tell you guys about Snapchat? What did I tell you guys about Snapchat and relationships? Snapchat and relationships don't work well. It's not that Snapchat is a bad app. I have Snapchat, but I'm just telling you, Snapchat and relationships don't work well. There's really, like, if you really think about it, just and tell me if I'm off, okay? What reason would you have to communicate with someone on Snapchat that you couldn't just communicate to them on Instagram DM at the very, even if you say, I don't want them to have my number, why can't you communicate it on Instagram DM where there's a message thread? Why?
Well, I'm getting ready for bed. I was scrolling for like a good 30 minutes and he finally texts me and he goes, oh, sorry, I've been in
Or WhatsApp. Why?
and out of sleep. And yes, I did read down Snapchat. I've been without it for 4 years. I thought it was about time. So my response was, okay. Okay, so now fast forward to the day after he ended things with me over the phone because of me prying. So my best friend was texting me like crazy. I didn't get these text messages because I was asleep, but I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, and I happened to grab my phone and look at it, and I happened to check the messages, and she said, what the heck is going on? Because he had changed his profile picture, hid his relationship status, so I wasn't even like anywhere on there anymore. Which I get, you just ended things with me, but it hasn't even been an hour. So anyway, I texted him the next morning and I just basically said like, this is really hurtful. Like, do you not see how hurtful this is? Like, this is so fresh and like, you just seem so eager to be single. So his response was some lame, corny excuse like, I was speaking from the heart, Lauren. Anyway, stupid. That was it. Anyway, days go by. I had a lot of time to reflect, process all the things in this time, but 4 days had gone by. I decided to go live again because I have a business to run. So I get on live with no intention of speaking on it at all. But someone came in my live that I hadn't seen in a very long time. They were like, oh my God, have you been? What's new? I haven't seen you since you were in Virginia Beach. And my brain instantly went to, well, let's see, my fiance just ended things with me out of the blue. I burned my hand on a crock pot. You know, I was just talking about all the things that had happened to me in the day. And I was fine, was not emotional at all. But I got emotional because someone had asked me what's gonna happen with Lola. Lola was his dog, but AKA my dog, because I raised her for the last 4 years while he was out of town working and never home. So of course I lose it. I start bawling hysterically on live. I had him blocked at this point, but someone was watching because the next thing I know, I'm getting text message from him threatening.
She's taking it to another level. She's not just like, okay, talking about her relationship in retrospect. She's like in the moment, the emotional state, crying her eyes out on a live stream. That's okay. That's wow. Okay, we're reached new levels.
Me, reminding me like who pays the electric bill and who's on the cell phone plan and this and that and the other. So what does he do? He cuts me off of the internet, so I couldn't run my business for a week and a half, threatening to cancel my phone line. Luckily, my best friend came through and was like, go to AT&T. I got you set up. I already went there. Anyway, got that figured out. So then, of course, more threats. He's telling me get the out of his house, all these things, like just erratic behavior and telling me I need to watch my mouth and what I say on TikTok, basically trying to silence me. And first of all, you're not going to silence me. I'm going through a really hard time. I'm allowed to talk about it. And I wasn't talking shit about you, but if I want to, I could. So a week goes by, he's still out of town. He finally shows up on like a Saturday morning, and I had told him, you need to let me know when you're gonna come home because I want my stepdad or the cops to be here because I don't feel safe with you. And he like made a joke out about it, was like laughing and like mocking me. Well, the day he shows up, he comes knocking on my door. Lauren, the cops are here and they want to talk to you. So I go outside and the cops are like, hi, so we're here because he called and told us the situation. And I'm like, what situation is that? And they were like, well, he called us and told us what was going on, and he just wants a peaceful transition with no problems. And I literally laughed and said, that's funny because the text messages I have from him say otherwise. So anyway, they asked if I needed help or whatever, and I was like, no, I'm fine, but like, what? So they leave. He comes into my room with these, I call them Temu papers because they had stains and like scratch marks all over them. Basically a template that someone printed off. It's probably his new girl that he's with now. Anyway, trying to say he's serving me to like get me kicked out in 3 days. And I said, well, that's funny. I know my rights. I talked to an attorney. Like, this is complete BS. So I laughed and I threw the papers, and he picked them up and took off with them. I do have screenshots of those as well. So at this point I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to stay in the house any longer. Let me just pack my shit and get out as fast as I can. Well, it was on a weekend. Sundays, the storage unit was closed, so I at least had it reserved. Monday morning, I went to go get a U-Haul, get my stuff in the storage unit, and I was out of there. Well, he ended up blocking me on Facebook. And then the next morning, after I had moved out, he forgot to block my parents and my best friends and like half of my friends. Well, he decided to post his new relationship. The idiot forgot to block my parents. So my stepdad was the one who found out that he was cheating on me with another girl living a whole double life. So of course, naturally, I'm like, okay, this girl, there's no way this girl didn't know about me. Oh, well, she did, because my best friend messaged her and was like, did you know he had a whole ass fiance? Like, how could you be okay with that? And you know what her response was? Word for word, her response was, I don't give a, and neither does he. So she knew about me. What's comical is she put all of her social media private, and then she ended up putting it on public, and one of my followers found her TikTok page, and she had posted some really hysterical video compilation pictures of the two of them, basically saying like, oh, I'm so thankful that God brought you to me. And I'm like, bitch, God does not bring married or taken men to you. The worst.
Whenever people say that and that's the situation, that always be making me laugh, because that's true. I don't believe that God brings someone married or taken men. That's not how that works. Not even in the slightest.
Part about it all is that he literally stripped me from the home that I took care of. I ran my business out of. He sabotaged my business. I couldn't run my business for almost 2 weeks. Luckily, my parents lived right up the road, so I'm staying with them. Luckily, I had a place to go. But before we moved to Texas, I sold my truck. He traded his truck in for a car that I drove because he said it would be mine because he had a work truck. Convenient, right? So not only did I not have a place to live, I didn't have a vehicle, and he took the dog that I cared for more than anything in this world away from me. There's a lot more to it, but that's kind of everything in a nutshell. You guys have been asking me every time I'm on live what happened, because a lot of you guys saw him. He was in my lives. He was part of my life for 4 years. So obviously you guys are going to have questions about where he is and what the heck happened. So that's what happened. I'm sorry this was so long, but it is what it is, you know?
That's kind of, that's very interesting. I mean, we didn't really get a very clear answer of like exactly what the timeline was that he's been with her. But also, when I see things like this, I also ask myself, like, well, she probably would ask herself to this as well, where the disconnect was, where we get to a point, because I don't think it's one thing if a man just steps out and he cheats, right? Because then it's okay, whatever, it's about sex. But if he like has an affair and then he ends up with that new person, then my question becomes like, where was the disconnect in your relationship? How did you transition from saying that you wanted to be in a relationship? You were in the relationship with that person. Then when did you happen to say, okay, based on these things, I no longer want to be in a relationship, because eventually you decided that for yourself, meeting the new person and then saying, not only do I not want to be in a relationship with you, I also want to be in a relationship with this person instead over you. I always wonder how that transition comes about and whether there are any changes in a person's behavior during that time. She didn't necessarily go into depth with that. I was hoping that she would, but that's always interesting to me as well.
Hey guys, so if you're seeing this, you probably saw my last video of me talking about how I found out my ex-fiance was cheating on me. And I'm here to give you a little update, but also to address some stuff from the first video. So I mentioned in the first video how my ex-fiance blocked me on social media, and then the day after I moved out into my parents' home, he posted his new relationship publicly. So not only did he post it publicly, but the girl posted it publicly, and one of my friends reached out to her, and of course if you watched the first video, her response was, I don't give a, and neither does he. So here's the update. My ex reached out to one of my friends, asked her and everyone to stop talking about them, saying that the girl has never done anything wrong to me and doesn't deserve this type of treatment. He even used the word bully. So I wanted to come on here and clarify everything because she's not being bullied and she does not get to play the victim, and neither does he. If you post your affair publicly on the internet for everyone to see, be prepared for the consequences. He even said that he never in a million years thought he would be trolled by people on the internet. I mean, what did you expect? I have like 80-something thousand followers. Who knew you? And you followed some of them. So that's the update. But I just wanted to say, you don't get to play the victim. You're definitely not being bullied. But also, expect for people to call you out on your especially when you post your affair and your new girl is bragging about being a homewrecker. I'm just saying, what did you expect was going to happen? Now, as far as the whole video goes,
Well, she thought God brought him.
I only gave you guys bits and pieces of what really happened. I mean, you kind of got the gist, but I didn't go into the whole 4 years of what I experienced. And I was honestly shocked by some of the comments. Most of them were people that have been in the same situation as me or are currently going through it. But then a lot of the comments were grown women commenting and telling me what I should or shouldn't have done, or saying it was my fault or that I deserved it. Like the craziest things I've ever heard. But this will not be a 10-minute long video. I just wanted to come on here, give you guys an update, and to say thank.
That's interesting. I don't think that it's her fault. I just think that, like we were talking about earlier, she probably would have experienced some sort of change with it.
Too afraid to speak out. So I will be posting more.
Welcome to my story time. There's going to be many of these, I fear, so good for you if you stick around. This is a story about how me and my ex-boyfriend broke up. I basically found out on April 7th that something wasn't right in our relationship, as he had lied to me about where he was, and he was acting a lot more suspicious than he ever had before. And I questioned him, and I could tell he was lying. I told him when I got home from work I was going to confront him, and if he was lying to me, we were breaking up. I got home from work and I confronted him. He lied to me and also had taken that time to write up about 3 pages on his phone, like scrolling worth 3 pages of all the things he hated about me and all the ways that I was ruining our relationship.
Whoa, can you guys hear? Can you guys hear me and hear her? Because that was intense. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard that before. Someone 3 pages of all this is a guy you're with, and he wrote down 3 pages of things he hates about you. That okay, all right.
To me, and also had taken that time to write up about 3 pages on his phone, like scrolling worth 3 pages of all the things he hated about me and all the ways that I was ruining our relationship, which was really surprising because the whole issue was that he was lying to me. I was also confused by that because he came at me so hot when I got home and was so angry at me. Eventually I was like, what were you doing today? And he said that he drove 2 hours to see another girl for 10 minutes. And at that point I said, we're broken up. We're done.
Good. He that's like a perfect example of if he wanted to, he would, but like in the worst way. He had a whole girlfriend and he drove 2 hours to see another girl that's not his girlfriend for 10 minutes. So if any guy tells you, like, hey, if you ever wonder if he wanted to, he definitely would if he wanted to.
Recently looked at engagement rings and picked one out and planned to go to Italy or Europe somewhere for about 3 weeks this summer, which I assumed would be where we would get engaged. I'm not going to talk about engagement with a man and plan a life with him while he lies to me, even if it's just about seeing a woman for 10 minutes, regardless of what it is. That's not happening. I was very angry at this point, and I kicked him out of our bed.
I mean, there's no really, there's nothing he could be like to use to excuse him going 2 hours. No guy, let's be serious for real. We're adults here. No man is driving 2 hours for any woman that's not his mother, sister, or some sort of relative to see her for 10 minutes. That's not happening. Men don't operate like that. There's nothing he could say or, you know, spin to make it seem like he was willing to do that for any reason other than his attraction to her.
Jerome, he sent me several messages trying to let me know how sorry he was and how much he loved me, and nothing happened. Nothing happened with this girl. I messaged the woman and I said,
After he wrote 3 pages of notes of why he hates you?
hey girl, this is the situation.
Is he trying to offset the notes of saying that he hates you with saying that he loves you?
Appreciate any of your insights, not mad at you, want to understand what's happening. She took a long time to message back, which I thought was a red flag, and she assured me that they were just friends. Just friends. Nothing between them. She's so sad this is how we met. She wished we could meet on better circumstances, and she's been...
Chat, if you ever think that a man is your friend and he's driving 2 hours to see you for 10 minutes, you're sadly mistaken. That man is in love with you.
dying to get to know me. I appreciated it. I trusted it somewhat. My gut told me that wasn't true, but I said thank you for the information. Regardless of that, I still told him we're not getting back together. It's not about what you did or didn't do with this woman. It's about the lie. You're not going to lie to me like that and us get engaged. That's not happening. For the first couple of days, it was really awkward, and then not happening. For the first couple of days, it was really awkward. And then on the 10th, we broke up on the midnight of the 7th. On the 10th, I'm at the gym and he texts me and says, I hope you're not upset by this, but I took all our photos down off Instagram. And I was like, no, I'm upset. I'm upset by that. I'm actually really upset by that. And he was like, oh, well, I just couldn't bear to look at them anymore. And I was like, that's not right. Not correct. I know that's not right. And later on, I would find out that he had just put himself on dating apps. He used to participate in sex parties, and he had just messaged the sex party people to let them know that he was interested in coming back.
Okay, you're like, it's like a slow burn, and then now you're just throwing stuff out of left field. Okay, we went from he's writing you pages, he's apologizing, now he's at sex parties. Are you dating Diddy's best friend? Who is it that you're dating?
He was already received.
He signed up for the sex parties. He's the first on the sign up list. That's the first. Damn. That's the first thing that he's, oh, hey, just broke up with my girl. Gotta sign up for the sex parties. Damn. Oh, damn. That's the first thing? He just got, damn.
Images, let them know that he had just put himself on dating apps. He used to participate in sex parties, and he had just messaged the sex party people to let them know that he was interested in coming back. He was already
He said, I won't be on the guest list. I get me a reservation. RSVP me.
receiving images from other women from the dating apps and planning to meet up with them. And we were still living together. I think that we, like, at this point, I'm thinking, like,
No, that sounds like a sex addiction because you come on. Even if you break up with your girl, like, let's even say that you're the one that breaks up with her. For you to go first thing that you're doing is signing up for sex parties is ungodly behavior. That is unbelievable. That is crazy for that to be one of the first things you're doing after breaking up with your girl. I don't care how long y'all been together.
we're going to get back together. We're going to work this out. We're going to go to therapy. It's going to be fine. We live together. I love him. I plan to marry him. I did
Oh
never
boy, you live with that man? He's signing up for sex parties after he breaks up with you, after y'all break up? That's an addict.
think I would marry anybody, and I thought I would marry this man. Yeah. For about a month, he played in my face and made it very obvious he was going out on dates while I laid in my bed and cried myself to sleep after work every night.
There it is. 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 She snuck it in there. She tried to sneak it in there. She tried to sneak it in there. I'm too quick. I'm too fast. She tried to sneak it in. Did you notice it? I'm going to play it again. She snuck it in there. Real slick. She almost got you. I'm sure she got some of you. She snuck it in.
Yeah. For about a month, he played in my face and made it very obvious he was going out on dates while I laid in my bed and cried myself to sleep after work every night. And
she snuck it in. You didn't notice it. She snuck it in. For those of you who don't understand what she really just said here, she just finished saying, yeah, this man came home, 3 pages of notes of how much he hates me. Then he went 2 hours to go see another woman. Then after 3 days of our relationship, he not only deleted our photos, he was on dating apps, and he signed up for sex parties. But what you guys might have not took in, because she snuck it in so slick, after that, she continued to speak to him, continued to talk to him, and continued to explore the idea of dating him for a whole month. She basically allowed herself to get downgraded from being a girlfriend, eventually being a wife, and then basically ended up, I don't even want to call it a side chick, but she was basically watching him date other people while also hoping they would be in a relationship, but not having the self-respect to walk away. I'm not saying, like, obviously she has emotions, so she made a couple mistakes, and I'm sure she probably regrets doing that, you know, and the pain that it made her feel. But like, this is why I say, if you're ever in a position where you get, you know, you were dating someone and you're no longer dating them, move your life forward. Do not, keep yourself around a guy who has downgraded you from girlfriend position into side chick position or whatever this position is, because she snuck it in there. But after she finished saying all that stuff about him, she still stuck around afterwards, which is not good. This is why I say you got to be listening carefully. A month she stuck around.
Yeah. For about a month, he played in my face and made it very obvious he was going out on dates.
This is why I don't like that rhetoric, though. And it's no hate against her, but that's not him playing in your face. If you guys go through all that, you're talking about the sex parties, you're talking about him deleting all your pictures, you're talking about him being on dating apps. That's him telling you, I'm moving forward from the relationship, or him telling you, I'm not the man that you're looking for, okay? But that's an answer, right? And he's being very clear and upfront with where he's at right now and what the expectation should be. So you can't say that he's playing in your face when he's clearly showing you that he does not want to be in a serious relationship and he has no intention of being in one. And then you're the one that's sticking around and saying, well, I hope that things will change, or maybe he'll come back around, or maybe whatever the case may be. You can't describe that as him playing in your face anymore, right? And I'm not saying that to blame her, but I want all of you to understand, like, part of having self-respect and dignity and being able to stand up for yourself, which is what I try to instill in all of you, is that you recognize that when people are playing with you, you just cut your losses and you say, you know what? You played me. You got your rocks off. Okay. You know what? That one hurt, but I'm going to move forward with my life. I'm not going to stay in purgatory and allow myself to continue being played after you got your one off. Get your one off. Okay. Yeah. You had me there. And then you move forward with your life and you don't look back. But you can't be in this state where, you know, someone does that to you and then you stick around and then you're like, and then they put me in more pain. That's not how that works.
It's while I laid in my bed and cried myself to sleep after work every night. And I lost about 10 pounds that first month. Altogether, throughout this breakup, I've lost about 15 pounds or so, which I'm not proud of. And it's not healthy. And I know that. He sat there and made me feel bad for a month and made me believe that our breakup was because I didn't trust him to have female friends. And he had a lot of female friends. He had female friends that he had had previous sexual relationships with and I knew about, and I'd become friends with them.
That's not okay, but that's not a that's not the type of female friends you should be allowing him to have. What? That's not no, you weren't supposed to say that like that. No, you're not, he's not. And especially, he's not supposed to have female friends he's driving 2 hours to see for 10 minutes. What is that? And he's definitely not supposed to have no female friends that he done slept with. I don't know where they do that at. I'm not sure where they do that at. You shouldn't be allowing him to do none of that. Or you at least shouldn't even be in a relationship with someone who thinks that that's okay. That's a conversation to be had right there.
Because I didn't trust him to have female friends. And he had a lot of female friends. He had female friends that he had had previous sexual relationships with and I knew about, and I'd become friends with them. I believed him though. And he used my childhood trauma as, oh, look, see this area in your life that you haven't healed? That's bothering me. And I was like, you're right. I'm a bad person. I'm making this relationship horrible. So I'm in therapy trying to fix myself so I can fix him, so I can fix us, because I want to work. On my birthday, May 3rd, almost a month into this every day, me crying myself to sleep, literally going to work and crying at work, which is so embarrassing. Sorry about all my coworkers who've had to deal with that. On my birthday, he sits me down and he tells me, I'm going to tell you the truth today. Okay, I'm open to it. What's the truth? Let's hear it.
So keep in mind, chat, this timeline she's talking about is well after she discovered the sex parties, well after she discovered that he's on dating apps, well after he deleted all of their pictures on Instagram, well after he's been single.
The truth is, he's been cheating on me with the girl that he went to go see for 10 minutes since December, and they've been having an...
I see, this is the thing, too. I know, see, oh boy, I know. Some of you probably think, oh, Tomisin, he probably thinks he's slick, right? He thinks he's slick, right? Because he watches these videos ahead of time, and then he plays them for us like, oh yeah, reaction time, let's see, we react to a video. But he's already watched the video. He already knows exactly what's going to happen in the video. So he goes ahead and he makes it a point to talk about, hey, pay attention to this. Hey, notice this, notice that. Pay attention to that, because it's going to come up in the video later because he's already watched it. And then he seems like a genius every time that it comes up and he gets to make a video out of it. No. Every video that we watch together, I'm watching it for the first time with you. All I do is I queue up the video and I watch the video with you because I know the topics. And once I hear them say, let me tell you a crazy story about me and my ex breaking up, no more. I don't want to hear no more. I put it in the queue and then we watch it together. So I do not know what's happening beforehand. So my reactions are real and genuine. The reason I'm saying that is because what did I just say earlier? No man on this planet Earth is driving 2 hours to see a woman for 10 minutes that he doesn't have attraction to. Men do not work like that. So I use these as moments to help you guys, to remind you guys that I'm a man. So when I say men don't work like that, they don't operate like that, that doesn't make any sense. I want you guys to actually be able to believe that I know what I'm talking about. Okay? Because I know how men think, but I also understand the psychology of guys because I know the internal emotions and motivations and driving factors of why men will act on certain desires. And going to see a girl driving 2 hours is not a normal way to act as a man unless you have real attraction to that girl.
Ongoing relationship where they talk. The truth is, he's been cheating on me with the girl that he went to go see for 10 minutes since December. And they've been having an ongoing relationship where they talk every day, all day long while I'm not around, which is funny because I had been noticing recently that every time I come in the room, he oh, my phone, oh my God. And I'm just like, I catch him on that and I'd be like, why do you do that? Like why do you do that? And he's like, I don't, you're crazy. Why don't you trust me? And he'd get mad at me and I'd be like, damn, I have to work on that in therapy. I have to get better. I have to trust him. I was right. My gut was right. My instincts were right. During this time when he was having this emotional relationship with this girl that he'd had a sexual relationship with, but she didn't live in the state that we live in, I sank into a pretty bad depression and I couldn't understand why because my life was perfect. I was probably going to marry my best friend. He was having a lot of career success. And even though I wasn't, he assured me that since I'd been taking care of him for years, he got me until I could make something happen. So I was like, why do I feel like my nervous system is crashing in on itself? I couldn't understand it. He really made me feel bad about that. Looking back, I'm like, my nervous system was trying to tell me what was happening and I wasn't listening. Always listen to your intuition. Always, always. I was dreaming every night that this man was cheating on me and I would tell him about my dreams. I would tell him. You know what he would say? I'm sorry you're having bad dreams. Maybe you should take some melatonin. Sorry. I hate that you dream like that. I hate that your dreams hurt you. I would never do that to you. Meanwhile, he's doing it to me. He's doing it to me in that moment. Crazy. Anyway, now we're going to get to the really good part. I started going through
That wasn't the good part? Okay, I'll buckle up. I apologize.
his journal. I started going through his iPad when he wasn't home because I'm a good girlfriend. Really, I really am. I respect your space. I respect your privacy. I'm not a great ex-girlfriend. That's the thing. I'm not a great ex-girlfriend. That's what I've realized. And, yeah, so I started looking for stuff and I found a journal entry from months ago where he had written that he hates me and that I'm a bum and that I'm a nothing. I'm a waste of his love. To my face,
That's a very evil thing to say about someone that you're actively in a relationship with. That I'm not going to say that she's lying, because obviously that's not something you would lie about. But that also makes me ask a question of like, those are very strong feelings to have for someone who you're in a relationship with. That's very, very strong feelings. Like of
He's telling me I'm the love of his life, that he has never been happier, that he cannot wait to marry me. He's telling me that unprompted. I have the text messages. I have the receipts. I am not crazy. He's telling me this while he's writing how much he can't stand me. When I go through his iPad, I find that he is texting about 27 women. Several of them are under the impression that they're meeting somebody they could start a relationship with.
That's I don't even know what type of addiction that's an attention addiction, to be honest with you. 27 women is impossible to balance. She said that someone said she was paying all the bills. No, she said that apparently he had a job, some sort of job that allows him to text 27 women. That's insane. How does he even do that?
Have never been so disgusted in my entire life to see the way that he treats these people. Like they're nothing. Like they have no feelings. Like they don't matter to him whatsoever. Texting the same pictures to girl after girl after girl, literally setting up different times to sleep with each girl, like back to back. There was a day that he woke up, asked for a nude from one girl. She sent nudes. Then he went to go hang out with his friends. A different girl and him slept together. He left her house to take a third girl on a date, slept with that girl, came home, texted a fourth girl that he told his friends about her. And he's so excited for their life they're going to have together and for his friends to meet her. That's crazy. I'm not insane. That is crazy. I basically started accumulating all the evidence, screenshots, videos, because I'm like, hell no, not on my watch. If a girl had done
27 is freaking wild. Doing all of that in one day, she's got to tell me what type of job he has. Because there's only so many jobs that you can have where you'd even have the energy to do that. That's insane. And even too, like, what type of, I'm just being honest with you, just being a little bit nosy, what type of sex is he having? You know, after you bust one nut, two nuts, like you're not really gonna have the energy in you to be texting a new girl for a new, that's why I'm saying that's an addiction. I don't even know if that's a sex addiction. That's like an attention addiction. I don't know what type of addiction that is, but it definitely ain't normal. Cause doing that many in that day and no, you should be happy that you got away from that guy. You should be very happy.
this for me, that would have saved me $65,000 and 3 years of my time. I don't have the time to waste. I don't want to waste time with somebody. I would rather be alone than be with somebody like this. I wasted my time and my love on a nothing and a nobody. Let's get that right now. I have never gotten over someone so quickly. I think everyone should get 3 months of receipts of their ex after they break up if you're having a hard time getting over them, because you'll get over them real quick when they're like this. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting to see somebody toy with other people's emotions and constantly pick girls who are about 6 to 8 years younger than him because he knows they're easier to manipulate, more naive. I don't like that behavior. I didn't like it before. I don't like it now. If you have an age gap relationship, that's great. I do not judge you. But when you are consistently going after much younger women, that's a problem. That's a problem. That needs to be highlighted. That's not okay. You are becoming a predator. And I guarantee you, the older he gets, they're going to stay the same age. They just are. Those are the ones that are easy to manipulate. And any woman his age, any woman who has been through someone like this before, looks at him and is like, no, whatever you're doing, whatever this is, I can see through it. I'm not doing it with you. So he goes after the young and naive. Not on my watch. Not if I have anything to say about it.
But the joke's on him, because some of the young and naive watch my show. They get not young and, well, they're young still, but then they get less naive, and then he can't play them either.
About it. So here's my TikToks, here's my videos. Watch them, share them, and protect yourself. Because
okay, so that's good. I'm glad that she's learned from the situation. The part that I didn't like was her going back to him for a month, and returning to that situation, even though she knows that he was not wanting to be in a relationship. But I'm glad she got her version of closure, her version of clarity. Now, guys like this, I'll just be honest with you. Guys like this, they're too sick to even ration with or have logic. This is like an extreme situation where, like, Honestly, I'm telling you, 99% of guys with real jobs, full-time jobs, have stuff to do. There's no way they would even have the energy to be able to do what that guy did. So I don't know what type of special job he's working where he can even have that. Because the thing is too, like, you have to think about it as well. Like what he's doing, even if he did that on a weekend, you only have so much free time on your weekend, even if you work a regular 9 to 5, right? So by the time you get to your weekend, you're so tired that you sleep, you hang out with your friends a little bit to keep your social life going. And like, bro, to see 4 or 5 girls in a day, that's not even stuff you can do when you're in college and everyone's on the dorm, see 4 or 5 girls in a day. No, that's an addiction. I don't even want you guys to think like that's normal guy behavior, or even even guys that'll play you won't go that far, because that guy was just like borderline, Ted Bundy style craziness. So I don't want you guys to think that that's normal, but something to look out for and pay attention to. She said, well, there wasn't any signs, but also I do think people who treat people like this don't treat people like this out of the blue. So I'm not going to say that she's lying, but I also think that people don't just wake up and start treating people like that randomly. And I think that with more digging, I think she could have uncovered some of these things beforehand. I'm not saying that she is the reason she got hurt, but I'm just saying something to think about. Okay? All right, chat. I actually have to run because I started late, so I went over a little bit, but it's okay. I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow I should have more time. I had some stuff come up earlier in the day, and then it made me late because it pushed back everything in my day. So hopefully I don't have that happen tomorrow. The plan will be for 3 p.m. tomorrow. And so until we meet again, don't worry, tomorrow I'll do Discord time and all that for sure. Until we meet again tomorrow, I bid you adieu. Hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, ciao, salam, arrivederci, baoni, bon voyage, and I'll see you again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or somewhere around that time. Somewhere around that time. Okay? I love you so